Greetings from Sioux City, Iowa. We are live, Pioneer Sideline, coming from the Gateway Arena inside the Tyson Event Center here. And, you know, guys, got in yesterday, had the nice nap, and then getting down to business here in day one, full day at Sioux City, Iowa. This is Pioneer Sideline, live from the NAIA National Tournament, Division II Women's Basketball. And today, first practice, guys, for the women's team here at a local high school, the South Sioux City, Iowa, or Nebraska, we should say. Their first practice there. And what were your first impressions of the team? We had a good bit of travel to get here, but did you see the rust? Was anything, your first impressions on how this team looked?
You know, the team looked pretty good this morning. It was actually a pretty nice venue. The South Sioux City, Nebraska high school had a pretty nice arena for us to go watch the team practice in, and the team didn't look all that rusty. We left Pittsburgh yesterday morning. The flight left. Layover in Chicago. We left at 6 a.m. out of Pittsburgh, layover in Chicago. Didn't end up getting to the hotel until last night, about 4 or 5 o'clock. And no, the team looked good this morning. They looked rested. They looked pretty good. And, you know, they just did what we expect them to do. It's all defense all the time, and they look like they're ready to go.
Yeah, Kevin, I completely agree with you. The Point Park Pioneers are going to have to rely on a lot of the veteran leadership, and I think they're going to turn to April Austin a lot throughout this tournament, and she's really the team leader and what the players really turn to in times of need. And I think April Austin, the floor general out there, is really going to be a person to go to during this NAIA championship tournament. And you really got to like what Emily Shartner brings to the table as well for the Point Park Pioneers. Having two Division I caliber players on the Pioneers squad is just going to help them throughout the tournament, and it's just going to be a very good way for the Pioneers just to have some confidence in the rest of their squad, just to prepare them for what they might expect this season.
Yeah, Matt, I agree with you. This team is chock full of players that really have experience, and you mentioned Shartner, and you also look at players like Savitsky and Campbell who have played at this level together before and not at Point Park. So there's a lot of experience in these teams, and I think that we're really looking at a team that's ready to roll. And again, they didn't look all that rusty, Aaron, getting off the plane yesterday. A little tired. Everybody was a little tired when we got in. But then everybody seemed to wake up pretty fresh this morning.
Now, here's the other thing that I wanted to ask you guys. Now, do you happen to see, is this team ready to play? Are they still in the shock and awe mode of seeing, oh, we're in the national tournament. Look at this venue. Look at where we're at right now.
Yeah, we're standing in the Tyson Event Center, which is a gorgeous venue. But I think that those feelings are gone. They might have been there a little bit yesterday morning, getting ready for the flight, in the airport real early, kind of feel very business-esque. But I think that by the time everybody was exhausted in Chicago, more exhausted by the time we got to Omaha, Nebraska yesterday, and then seeing that, I mean, Sioux City is a very lovely place, but it's not the big hustle and bustle of Pittsburgh and other cities like that. So it's a very mellow feeling, and they got to see a lot of the other competition today with the Special Olympics thing, which we'll talk about later, I believe. And I think that I think it's all business from here out. I don't think that those tournament butterflies really are there as much as they might have been a day ago or 2 days ago, Matt.
Yeah, I really don't think the butterflies are going to set in there, Kevin. You saw the Pioneers, you know, they were a little bit tired coming off that plane, but I think they're really picking up things here. The practice this morning, they're really focused and determined to really just get out there and show, well, the NAIA is their first appearance here at the national tournament, and they're going to make it really count. And I think the Pioneers under head coach Tony Grenick, they really are a determined team. And at the beginning of the season, they didn't think they would even get to the national tournament. They didn't even know where it was. And now they're getting into Sioux City, Iowa. They're going to find out that they're really determined and out there to really show the rest of the teams here that they're for real. I think,
actually, Matt, bridging off your point, you mentioned head coach Tony Grenick, and we're talking about the butterflies. I think that he's had a lot to do with the fact that they don't have butterflies. He's just such an easy guy to be around, very easygoing coach. Obviously, we know what he's like on the floor, very intense, but, you know, he's easy to travel with. We've been around this team for pretty much 36 hours now straight. And it's a very laid-back attitude between him and Coach Micheletti. This team is and these players, I think they're ready to go.
Let's talk about Coach Micheletti and Coach Grenick. And we know the one thing that Coach Ryan Micheletti told us in the airport was that Damon game, their last loss, they got away from their style. They tried some different things, and it didn't work with these girls. How big is it for them to stick to the course and really what has gotten them to where they're at right now?
Oh, I mean, we all know the phrase, you dance with who brought you. And the defense brought this team to this arena, to this city, this state, to this time zone. And I think that they just have to stick with that. And a remark Coach Tony Grenick made to me this morning was, there's no team here we can't beat, but there's no team here that can't beat us. And I think that that is exactly on point with the way this team's mindset has to be moving forward. Obviously, it's Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening here now. We're 48 hours from game time. This team's got to be ready to go. They have to be ready to play their game, to play their defensive style. And I think if they're able to do that consistently, then I think Coach Grenick's exactly right.
It's a very good point you bring up there, Kevin. You know, the last loss that the Pioneers did suffer was up there in Amherst, New York, to the Damon Wildcats. And they really just went away from their defense they've been playing all season long. That's been their strong points, and they got some of the reserves in the game. They wanted to rest their starters for that AMC championship game. But, you know, that's really not what the Pioneers are all about. They're going to have a core of 6 or 7 players in that rotation. And I really think Coach Tony Grenick's going to use that and use that often. But a thing that we're going to have to look for is just how this team can stay out of foul trouble. We saw some instances when they're on the road at Walsh, they got in some foul trouble, and that was a weakness that they found out that really didn't help an advantage for them. So we're going to see the technical sides of things really just stir up for the Pioneers and see if they can stay out of that. Yeah,
and actually, Aaron, you mentioned Coach Micheletti. Don't want to leave her unmentioned. You got to remember, Coach Micheletti, she's 23 years old. A couple of years ago, she was in the national tournament at Seton Hill playing under assistant coach Tony Grenick. She's been here before. They actually won a game in NCAA D2 at Seton Hill. So she knows this mindset. She knows the experience, and I think that she's ready to roll, and she knows how this team needs to play.
I really think she's a connection between the younger players. You mentioned that's age 23. There's a connection there between her as a coach, bridging the gap between Tony Grenick and some of these players at times being so young.
I think that's absolutely true.
So, you know, we'll get into specifics a little bit later because the matchup, we'll preview that tomorrow. The game time is 7 o'clock Central Time on Thursday. That'll be 8 o'clock Eastern Time if you're catching it. At home, prime time basketball. The game will be live on 670 AM WPPJ and the MSA Sports Network. Pre-game show on the East Coast, 7:40 p.m., 6:40 p.m. if you're listening here from the East or the Middle Time Zone. I guess it's here at Central Time in Iowa. So we'll get into specifics tomorrow with the game against Corbin coming up, but this whole tournament, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a community event, and one of the things that we took a look at, and we were with the team for these helping out with the Special Olympics. The kids came in, basketball players came in from every team. They were all volunteered. Just had a blast with some of these kids.
Oh, it was a great event to watch. I think we spoke with a bunch of people there. At least 20 to 30 teams were here in the Tyson Event Center on the floor behind me. If you've been keeping up with the check-ins, then you got to see a little bit of it. It was just a great event. All the players playing, you know, what are they, duck, duck, goose, and even had a scrimmage there at the end, which was really fun to watch. Everybody was in high spirits, and I think it was a big thing today for these teams, not only for the kids, because obviously for the kids that's just awesome. It's fantastic stuff, but I think it was a really good thing for these players to be able to let go of everything for a little while, for an hour or two, relax, get everything off their mind. And just on a side note, a ton of basketball players are education majors, and it just seemed to work well for them. Very in their element, very ready to go. And Matt, I think moving forward for all the teams, not just Point Park, that was a big thing.
Yeah, exactly. You bring up good points there, Kevin. You know, if you were in an NCAA tournament like this, you would not even see any of these things happening. And I think that's the heartwarming thing about the NAIA Division II tournament here in Sioux City, that you're seeing a community connection. I think that's really a strong point for the NAIA and how they get their teams involved with the community. I think it's a very good point you bring there. And I think it just, you know, it gets them really notifying with the other teams in the tournament, and you get to know the other teams. But, you know, from that point on, it's really a business standpoint, as you would see. It's something like the Big East tournament, like a Madison Square Garden. So I think it's a nice event you hold there, but I think the next couple of days are going to be business for the Pioneers, and they're really going to get their game plan going against the Corbin team that will be playing on Thursday.
Yeah, and that business starts tomorrow for a lot of these teams. Obviously, with a 2-day first round, you're going to have 16 teams playing tomorrow and 16 teams playing Thursday. Pioneers are actually the 15th of 16 games at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. So a lot of teams, this was 24 hours prior to game time. And I think it was just something to really help everybody let go and relax. And Aaron, I think it was a big deal.
Well, we got a special look into that Special Olympics event here. So why don't we take a look at that, and we'll be right back.
Hold the balls. Go for it. Shoot. Go in. Shoot it up. Shoot it up. Oh, one more time. One more time. One more time. One more time. Oh. Jump. 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 Yay! Sarah. Move up a little closer. There it is. Yeah, Sarah. 2 rounds. What are we doing? Over and under relays. Oh, gotcha. Hey, the ball in the back, Beatty. Beatty, the ball in the back. Ball in the back. Come on. Yes. Ball's in the back. Ready, go. Hey, yeah, there you go. Let's go. And to the front, and to the front.
It's a great partnership that we have with Special Olympics Iowa and the NAIA, both volleyball and basketball tournament. We're invited to come, bring Special Olympic athletes from the area. It's amazing how many players come to participate. We had 15 registered teams, and I bet we had over 25 teams here today. They work so well with the athletes. They bring so much energy and enthusiasm to the clinic, and it just shows on the experience that our athletes have. Well, our Special Olympic athletes just get so much attention from all of the players who participate in the clinic. They work more than one-on-one with our athletes because we actually probably have 5 players to every athlete. So they just get so much individual attention. They're able to learn skills, you know, dribbling, passing, shooting. It's just a great opportunity for the athletes to receive wonderful sports information from our players. We always strive to have volunteerism throughout the year, throughout the state for Special Olympics. And when we're able to partner with a group like the NAIA, it's just wonderful for everyone involved. The players, they call, the coaches call, always want to volunteer for this event. And, you know, you just can't say no because they are just wonderful and they just work so well with our athletes.
We'd like to thank Rhonda Swarzkopf for her time and really helping us out, explaining how big this event is for some of these kids to come in and really bond with players, and something you just don't get to see every day.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic, and it was really nice to be able to see these teams kind of out of their element. Whenever we see these teams, unless they're players walking through the hallway, it's all business all the time, and it works for us on a different level because in the AMC we have 2 teams here. We had the Damon Wildcats and the Point Park Pioneers, and we got to see the Damon players, which obviously the only time we've ever seen them is on game day. Nice to see them be loose and be having fun, and the same goes for the Point Park Pioneers. And it was really, again, just a really good event overall. I was really happy that they did it, and I was really happy that we were able to be here to capture it.
Yeah, it's just a different element of the players you get to see. You usually don't see it on the courts. They're all business out there, and you know they're going to be that way come that time on Thursday. So it's always nice to see a different side of the player when they come out in a tournament like this because you usually don't see that in different levels of play. So it's very nice to see that in the NAIA Division II tournament.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the games tomorrow to see how these teams are how these teams respond because nerves seem to be a little high. They really did. Coming into the city, and last night everybody kind of trying to mellow out and relax, and today was kind of a leisurely day for the teams, and I think that was needed.
That's a great way to put it, leisurely day. That wasn't the only event. Just a couple hours ago, the team finished up with the opening banquet. Everybody got invited, nice dinner, everything going on there. We got to caught up with some of the players, some of the Point Park Pioneers after their special dinner event.
We had some good food. We ate some chicken, some corn and stuff, and then they introduced all of our teams and stuff. And then they had a fun photo booth. We took some funny pics.
It was a really nice experience and kind of made being here at the national tournament more realistic.
And good stuff there. It seems like they all enjoyed themselves. But
yeah, seemed fun.
You know what? We'll be here all week, Pioneer Sideline at the NAIA Division II Women's Basketball Tournament. Kevin Calhoun, Matt Desmond here. The live broadcast Thursday, that'll be at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for everybody on the East Coast back at home in Pittsburgh if you're wanting to listen in. So we'll talk to you probably tomorrow. We'll have another check-in video, so be sure to stay up on that. Athletics, the Point Park University Athletics website, also the Pioneer Sideline YouTube page. Those will be up shortly. And
Twitter's the place to be right now.
Twitter, follow us on there, and I'm sure you'll be able to catch up there, and hopefully we'll be bringing these videos to you for the next week.
That would be nice.
Championship game will be Tuesday, so hopefully we're still around. So thank you for tuning in. Look to talk to you tomorrow.